Another day in Los Angeles. I just passed out on the bus. I don't know what was going on here. I was using my Apple earpods. I was listening to some music. I thought I got to my stop. Then I just passed out for some reason. But I just came from abroad. I made it over the ocean. The only problem is I never actually got off the fucking airport. Almost immediately, I showed them my passport and they're like, wait here, wait here, wait here. And then all of a sudden it's, no, put that person in custody. And it's just, excuse me? Number one, the unions about human rights violations by the American government. And two, I'm boring as fuck. But their main thing was, dude, you did not bring enough luggage. Because they're trying to sell me shit. They're trying to sell me on, I got stoned at Stonehenge t-shirts. I know that they can't exactly say that out loud, but that's what it feels like when I am in custody. And one of the things you say is, well, we put you in custody because, why are you traveling without a luggage? And it's just, number one, I don't need to carry that much. Two, look at me and my fucking fashion sense. Okay, I've already decided to be worse dressed. Because there's no point. There's no point. I show up in the United Kingdom, I'm the prettiest person there. You know why? Because, and I don't want to be this rude, but I'm not there right now, so I can tell the truth here. I can tell the truth. Unless they're on television, you're not seeing the pretty people. I did not see enough pretty people because I was basically brought into a custodial environment right underneath Heathrow. And by the way, dudes, do you not know that you have planes taking off there and they're shaking the building and I have subconcussive damage from that? Do you know that? Okay, well now you do. Do you know that your room has mold in it enough that it looks like the shadows from Hiroshima? Like, what the fuck is that? But I have to say, compared to how America probably, now I don't know for sure, so I can't really say, but the way that the media fucking portrays it of, yeah, and they put children in cages and things like that. This was the fucking Club Med. Okay, let's get this correct. Number one, food, water, like almost concierge tea service. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, you can't leave, you can't use the cell phone, and, the lights are on, and, you get played with every, fucking 5 minutes like a cat with a new toy. So, yeah, but I mean, if you want tea, the United Kingdom will provide you tea. Wow.
In half a mile, turn left onto
Swift Avenue. So, I have to be of mixed opinion. Like, I wish that I could be a little bit more discreet about this, but how can I when, this affects my country and if this affects their country? But the thing is, okay, you're not a regular person. Okay, can we just say you're not a regular person? Number one, I'm prime military. So if I go over there, they're already looking at me like, if you're already saying you're not really a tourist, but you're the kind of person who's just like, yeah, I'll just sit at a pub, have a pint. That's all. I'm not going to get into a 6-hour line to see the Tower of London. It's like, number one, unless you're a real big history buff, you're literally watching people walk to a jail. So why? I mean, it's a beautiful building, but still that. So that's just like bad juju, bad karma. I wouldn't do that. Like for me, like a UK experience is go to the local park and start a rugby team. Go to the local park and, say, hey, want to do some football? I mean, World Cup is on right now. We could do this right here. But, that's just not it. I mean, they even have an Airbnb system, but They don't really want that. To them, it's, if you're not going to your American hotel chain, you shouldn't be there. And I get that. I get that. Because the United Kingdom, for all of the terrible things that happened during this thing, they're kind of saying, could you kind of look in the mirror and upgrade yourself? See what we see? Number one, you sound like us. They wouldn't dare fucking look up my father's information, because if they did, they would have to say, aren't you a fucking Brit? So they didn't even bother. They were like, that would be an invasion of his. It's like, please invade. Please invade some privacy there, because you should have those records. You should have those records. If you don't have those records, then, you know, that's a shitty fucking thing. But in this situation, we actually needed to finally just say, you know what? I think I'm American and something else. Because every day I walk through this fucking country and it's, you don't sound like you're from here, boy. You don't sound like you're from here. You sound like you one of those aliens. Are you an alien? Are you a Brit? Are you a Brit? Are you that Doctor Who? Are you that Doctor Who? That's what I get from these fucking people. And by the way, I really should. I mean, you have that long of a hiatus, you might as well regenerate into me. Number one, I actually qualify, and two, I'm a genius. So it fits. But either way, that's neither here nor there. The fact that they didn't do that meant that I was just an American citizen, which they consider, dude, you're trespassing. It's like, I'm not trespassing. I paid you for your hotel. I paid you for your flights. So what? You're saying because I'm the type of person to say, let me order from Uber Eats, let me get some food from Amazon instead of going down to the local eatery, I'm somehow not worthy enough? Are you serious? Whatever. Like I said, you know, this is very, 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 very confusing. Because on the one hand, they're trying to impress upon me that in America, you have your freedoms. You don't like this shit, but you still have freedom. Like right now, I'm outside walking around in the disgusting fucking air of Seattle. You know, at least in the town I was in previously, they had parks. Here, they've made a park underneath the freeway. That's America for you. Knowing the true value of nature. Just a pretty backdrop for your Instagram filters. That's all. So, right about now, I have to head over to my local hospital because, get this, because they detained me and held me in a detention center. They held me in a detention center with those illegal immigrants. You see, I was a legal immigrant. They denied me, but I was still a legal immigrant because I had my passport and I wasn't committing a criminal offense. Their thing was, oh, okay, so you here, you want this, huh? You want some of this Brit. You want some of this Brit. And I said, yeah, I do. I see Henry Cavill and I want it. I see that David, Somerset, and I'm like, yeah, give me that. Ewan McGregor, come get this. Come get this. Jude Law's one of our finest actors. I'm like, no, he's got a fine ass foreign actor. I want some of that. So, yeah. Hold on, let these trucks go by. Every time I try and talk about sex with hot British actors, they conveniently make it noisy. Like I would be in the bedroom. But either way, I wanted it. And they kept dangling it in front of me of, just answer the questions and, most likely we'll let you through, most likely. And I should have known better. Because right about now, you really shouldn't be in the United Kingdom. It's just not a good place right now. There's what you see on the television, there's what you hear about in music, and then there's reality. That's not the same country. And I'm not going to say it without saying it, but I said it, and that's enough. Fair enough. If you were there at Heathrow looking at the British citizen section and then the we're questioning you people, you would see, oh, okay, I'm seeing a lot of people that look like me. Now, granted, I get it. You see a beard, you think dashing Arabian prince. I get it. I get that all the time. I really do. But I'm not. I'm not. I'm indigenous. I'm hung like a BBC. So I can understand why you want to, see that up close, but I was held there for almost 24 hours. Not 24 hours, but almost. Now, they do give you what I can only describe as wrestling mats in order to really sleep on, unless you want to sleep on the floor. Some people do. Sorry about that. I actually have to figure out which way I'm going. Like I said, it was really, really odd. I fell asleep on the bus. But then you see, that's what happens when you're detained. Now, the guy that they chose to be my, I don't even know, what would you call that? The can opener? Is it the can opener that does that? But his thing was, that American doesn't talk enough. We want you to really open them up. So what he did was, he was this super hyper aggressive, hyper touchy, fucking weird. And it's just like, at the end of the conversation, you're supposed to say, oh, that was really helpful. But I'm like, aren't you just manipulating me? Like, isn't that the only reason why you are talking to me? But either way, let me just start from the beginning. So I keep asking for a timeline because they didn't explain anything to me. And since it was the weekend, 4th of July, shame on me to think that I could escape some fucking fireworks as a veteran that can't really deal with loud explosive noises. But they kept delaying when I could speak to someone. And then when I wanted... And then when I wanted to...
Go past these lights. Then at the next set, turn left.
Welcome home, Ian. I had some issues with how I was being treated, and they don't have in the United Kingdom solicitors on staff. They don't have refugee immigration lawyers on staff. So if they detain you, their thing is, how much can we torture you? Before legally people have to say, all right, you gotta, make some decisions. Because to them, they don't want to be upsetting other countries. So they do it more of, can we just inconvenience you? But is that all that is? Because I go there under this idea that you're doing health checks on these people. So why the fuck am I in a detention room with at least 2 or 3 foreign nationals that had whooping coughs? Now, I don't know specifically what strain or whatever, but they might have either been smokers, they could have allergies, I don't know. But the idea that they just kept coughing in the same place as me over and over and over again. They didn't offer us a face mask, they didn't, sequester that person and say, can you go to another room? Can we give you an option for that? So here I am. I'm gonna have to go to my local hospital and do a health check, because I don't feel comfortable walking around here
At the lights, turn left on Swift Avenue.
when I know that health is a huge problem in Europe right now. Everybody on the plane was coughing, a lot of sneezing. I was, well, a little bit more resilient, but who knows? So I'm going to do my part as an American citizen. I'm going to get myself checked before I immerse myself further into the population. Because that's what you're supposed to do. When you go to another country and you're like, you know what, I didn't exactly see the best of the best. Okay, I wasn't taking tea with regular people. I was taking tea with someone who decided, oh yeah, you know, I could use some extra money. And so he took the broke down palace thing fucking literally. And I'm like, I'm in the same room as that? Like, what the fuck is going on here? But then again, so what I was trying to say is they should have clean, individual holding areas for these people. Clean individual holding areas. They did not. Why? Because some of these people, I think they lie. I think that they do say stuff like that just to gain your sympathy, so you talk to them about your policy. Now, I'm an American citizen and I have weed legal here, so I talk about it. Weed is legal, weed is magical. Here, it would be nice if the United Kingdom took a different attitude on it, but if you're not a citizen at the time, you really don't have a say. That's all. So the human can opener, he comes up to me and he's like, oh, you know, I've been reviewing your case, but I haven't got my coffee yet. I haven't had my coffee yet. Let me go and get my coffee. I'll be back in 20 minutes. The dude took a fucking hour. And by the way, he forced me to shake his hand because I tried to bow to him. He's like, you don't need to bow, shake my hand. I'm like, dude, you're a guy, I'm a guy. You know what I do with my hand? I jizz on my hand, I stick my hand up my bum, fish around in there, clean it out as if I'm gonna have half the cast of being
In about
human
1
lick my
mile,
bum.
turn right
Okay?
onto
So, I mean by half the cast, I'm talking specifically to Russell to avoid that I keep a squeaky clean asshole if you choose to eat my ass. I'm just putting that out there in the universe because I'm a giver. But yet still, this government agent from Home Office is like, shake my hand. I'm like, I don't really want to. But I didn't really want to refuse because I was still under the assumption that it was being reasonable and that I would be allowed to leave and that my holiday wouldn't be so impacted. Because, by the way, I paid for a stay in London, but only for in a giant industrial city. Like, were we ever going to talk about the fact that London never left the industrial? The amount of cars that they have there, the amount of
turn
haulage,
left onto
the
South
amount
Juno
of
Street.
just lorries and just people who smoke, all of it, hairspray, all of it, in that atmosphere. And they're the most active people ever. They love being outdoors. They don't have a problem with it because they don't care. I looked at him and I'm like, no, I don't really want to shake your hand, but I shook it because I said, let me just get through this. And then fast forward to Because that's the thing. They were able to. I don't know why YouTube is trying to fucking censor that part. Like I said, there are several different perspectives that you can take all this. There's the perspective that the Brits are just fucking assholes right there. But then there's the perspective of, if you respect yourself properly, save your fucking American pennies, and then maybe elevate your experience, maybe you would enjoy it. Maybe you would think more favorably. And for your own safety, do it that way. Because I cheaped out. I was just saying, I'm literally here for what? 2-3 days? Give me the cheapest fucking option. 2 to 3 days, give me the cheapest fucking option. And they're like, no, you don't want the cheap option. But then I always throw that back as, this is your country too. If you know for a fact the cheapest option is actually very, very dangerous to foreigners.
Go past this stop, then at the next one, turn right.
Yeah. Then it's on you to fucking clean up your own country. It's not me. Because what he was doing is, I guess, the closest way that he could get to... You see what happened here? You were trying to sleep. And then someone just burst into the room and they just battered you about. And by the way, every time I fell asleep in this detention center, because I would ask for people like, hey, when's the next time I'm going to see someone to ask about my case? And they were like, no, it'll take 20 to 30 minutes. So I say, okay, fine, let me take a nap. And then as soon as I turn my back to take this nap, that's when the people from the Home Office come in. Now,
At the stop sign, turn right onto 15th Avenue South.
look, now we live in the modern age. I think it's this way. Maybe it's the next one. I'm going to go this way. You know for a fact that governments will follow you. They will go about and rent the room next to you to hear your conversation. They'll bug your phone if they feel like it. It's real dodgy shit. That happens in every country, okay? Me, I have boring conversations.
Proceed to the route.
I'm not scared of that. I am scared now of Home Office just magically being in my room. But like I said, they said no, so here I am. I mean, they said I make more than most British citizens, most American citizens. I'm not exactly impoverished, but I'm not exactly the richest person ever. I can't afford their version of the fucking Ritz-Carlton. And I shouldn't even have to. There's a new economy now. You don't have to pay for a fucking hotel room where you can just pay an Airbnb. You Londoners are fucking poor. All of the Brits are poor. That's why you're turning half your houses out to strangers. You let it out, and guess what? You get some money back for that fucking investment that you did. Way back when you purchased that property. You purchased the property
At the
thinking,
stop sign, turn left onto St. Lucille Street, then turn.
yeah. You bought this property because I'm gonna have like 10 children, I'm gonna have 20 kids, oh my God, I'm gonna throw so many parties, I'm gonna be the envy of everyone here, blah, 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 blah. But guess what? Life is different. You're lucky if you even had 2.5 kids, and guess what? They left. So now you've got this big property. You love it, but it gets expensive. Roofs need repair, windows need redoing. Who's gonna pay for that? Because it's not like the government's gonna give you more money to push visitors from foreign countries out just to make sure that Britain stays a little bit more pure. And by the way, I can't really say that much about that issue because if you're there, you know what I'm talking about. But it was super interesting because the people who have jurisdiction over my case cannot even spell. It's an official document, they misspelled on it. It's an official document, they got the information wrong. And then they hand me a letter that says, oh, well, you know, you're only going to be here for one night. I'm like, I showed 3 different people my hotels.com receipt that it said specifically I was there for 3 nights. Obviously, I didn't make it, but it was there. There's a receipt. So I'm left with the issue of, if you want to say no, say no. If you want to say not yet, you can say not yet. But if you lie on the form, I wonder why.
Turn right onto 15th Avenue South.
This doesn't seem like something that Britain does for everyone. So maybe I should take it as a bit of compliment. But then again, like I said, I had to deal with Mr. Touchy Handsy Feelies. I'm cool with that. I mean, was he the worst person in the world? No. But then again, in that situation, don't try to be my friend, man. I know that's your job, but don't do that. There should be a rule. You can do your whole side. So, I don't know. The United Kingdom officially has said that it's not forever. You're sent back to your disgusting fucking country. They didn't say that part. I added that. They sent me back here. But that's where things get interesting. I checked my email and they removed my ETA. And some people would say, what's an ETA? That's an electronic ticket authorization. for you to come into the country, because before they used to have a visa system where you have to say, why are you here? Because tourism wasn't enough. It is, why are you here? And me, I said, why don't I visit a university, call them up at the very least, tell them, hey, I look to matriculate there. You have lists of mentors. Do you see if I qualify for any scholarships? Because then I could say, let me get a scholarship in addition to applying and let my VA benefits pay for it. But a scholarship is even better because that means I can do more. I'm an environmental scientist, so I spent the entire time lecturing the United Kingdom about their energy policy. Because all they could do to me is tell them, my pronouns are they, them, it's really hot here. It's over 30 degrees. And I look them in the eye and I say, what are you doing about it? Are you still using fossil fuels? Well, maybe it's because you still use fossil fuels. And so I sat down with this person who's, looking down on me, deciding my fate, robbing me of nearly $4,000. And I looked them in the eye and I told them, change.org/Scotland New Grid. My petition to completely change how the United Kingdom and eventually Europe see electricity as something that is a direct current. You use it when you need it. When you don't need it, it's free and shareable. Reducing costs, making it free. Putting more money back into the pocket of every citizen and cleaning the environment. But unfortunately, that conversation, which I had several times, just went nowhere. This is really fun. Okay, my biggest pet peeves. They ask for my financial information. I'm ready to give it to them because, I want that BBC myself too. And, if you can turn out things like Sir Idris Elba, I'm about it. So they say, well, we need to see how many times you get that amount of money that you say you do. And so I have to go into my bank records in front of this person in the middle of Heathrow. In the middle of Heathrow. Now, I don't care if they say that the ICO cares about your personal data and would never use it in a way that is against your explicit wishes or in anything that is not direct government business. But I'm showing my bank records to anybody in Heathrow, something I could have done in a form online, or redacted the shit out of everything else, or said, fine, you want the full unredacted bank statement? Let me give it to you, but I'll email it to you. And then you have to call up that bank your damn self and verify that information. But that didn't happen. Is this the new United Kingdom? Now, I know that you have to go above and beyond because, quite frankly, I want a world where the United Kingdom is there. I'm not ignorant. But there's a better way to do this. The better way would have been, oh, who are you? Who are you? What do you look like? Send a picture. Send a picture. Take your top off. Send a picture. I don't know. Do something. But at least they could say from an ocean away, dude, you're too beautiful. Stay there. Stay there. You're way too beautiful. Because then I could say, well, thank you for saying I'm beautiful. More people should say that. I'll save my coin and I won't come to your country where the only thing I saw was underneath Heathrow. Which, by the way, if you talk about guided tours, wow. But yet still, that is my experience with the United Kingdom. I've been planning to go visit, enjoy myself, maybe make one friend who sounds like I do. Go on a fucking Tinder date. I don't care. Something other than walking around this shitty fucking neighborhood every single day. And every shitty fucking neighborhood is the same here. You just couldn't let me have that for one moment. You couldn't let me be happy. You couldn't let me sing in a pub, sing in the park. I have a beautiful voice. And I didn't sing one time in all the time I was in the United Kingdom. I'm right where James Morrison is. I'm right where Rita Ora is. Jessie J. Feet away from me. Meters probably. But guess what? Underground pretty much. I'm so upset. Because America is many things, but they're never going to change. So where does that leave me? If America and every other country is like, we don't want to move people around anymore. We don't believe in true love. We don't believe in religious freedoms. We don't believe in freedom from oppression and persecution. We don't believe that anymore. So what do you do? I live in a country where disembarking the plane, some entitled woman who wanted to go up at the same exact time in the airplane aisle put her hand on my butt cheeks. And I have to say, I have to keep walking because that jeopardizes ever being on a plane again. As opposed to, no, that is something you would go to a stewardess about. That is something that you would say, no, you don't touch other passengers. You can be upset, but you don't touch other passengers. But that's what it means to live in America. It's not enough that they pay you because they know that they torture you. It's that it gives them permission to torture you again. Is the United Kingdom above torture? No, they practically invented it. They're not afraid to do that. They're not afraid. But you got to use that on everybody? What did you think? Honestly, I want to talk to these people from Home Office and say, what did you think was going to happen? I'm a loner. I'm known to be a loner. You can follow everything I say on YouTube. You could actually speak to the CIA or the FBI and be like, well, yeah, but do you actually authorize people to follow this person around, go on the buses, go on the planes and touch them? And America would have to say, yeah, we do. And if it's because we don't want them to go over to you because we know you do worse, then that's something you talk about at the UN. If you've gotten to the point with your security that you have to use extraordinary measures against regular people, now I know I'm not as white as Elton John, but I sing just as well. Yes, I will say that. I sing well enough. Sir Elton John and I should be recording an album. But you got me in a detention center with people trying to steal drugs into your fucking country? How is that fair to me? How is that fair? understandably, and I keep saying this because there's two sides to everything here. There's the side of I'm an American and I'm extremely butthurt about being maltreated, but then there's the UK side of it of you were going to go to a location where you don't know any of these people and they're not vouched for. In fact, there's a business interest to keep them shady, and you were risking your own life, you dumb fuck. So I see both sides of it. But I still have to ask, why did it have to be so fucking complicated? Why? On the UK side, they say, well, if you're such a good singer, then why aren't you performing here? And I have to say, it's because I have PTSD. It's because when I do try to perform in America, I have females cackling me on stage, causing me to have to call the police, and therefore I can never go back to that bar again, and it's just too much drama. So therefore, how would I ever get to the status that you want? Because the United Kingdom said to me, you're free to come back into the UK as a performer. They changed my ETA and said, you can no longer use ETA. If you come to the United Kingdom, you have to perform for us. And as I made it very clear to the Home Office agent, I would require you to pay for tickets. And him and his corrupt self said, and by the way, this is on camera, he said, no, you will give me VIP tickets. And I said, sure. Because
Turn right
it's
onto
just
South
fucking scary.
Snoqualmie Street. Then make a sharp left
I mean,
turn
does he
onto
know
South
that,
Columbian Way.
even as a joke, he's saying that he could be bent? You're not allowed to accept anything. I'm allowed to say, hey, if you want to come to a concert, you pay for a ticket. Anyone can say that. His response is illegal. That shows corruption. I think the Home Office should probably look into that. He's an older man, pensioner. He tells me that the day that he lost his wife because she wanted to leave him, it was my birthday. And I think, oh my God, this man's going to have a toss to me later. Just thinking of the correlation. Worst eye contact ever. But then again, it wasn't exactly like I took contemporaneous notes, but everything is on camera. Everything. Now, these people seem to think that I had a low self-esteem or something like that. Bitch, I was up in your detention center doing calisthenics. I was up in your detention center practicing my ballet. If that isn't a fucking sign of proof of life, then maybe you UK people should drink coffee instead of tea. Wake the fuck up. Anyone invested that much into their body, and how good I look and how nice and firm my buttocks are, they want to live. So don't you dare tell me otherwise. Like I said, there was some corruption at the Home Office. Now, the corruption is technically in my benefit because I'm not wasting time in a country that didn't want me. And you'd rather be someplace where you're wanted. So thank you. You saved me from going into a pub and thinking that my American dollars were good enough for you. And you also saved me by saying, why the fuck are you going into a pub when we can give you champagne in a private chateau? A private castle. You want to go visit a castle? We still have castles. You can be invited to one. If you were a celebrity. So I don't know how to feel. I really don't. I'm so confused by this entire situation. But I will leave that for the next podcast. My name is Leona. I'm an environmentalist, a human rights activist. A mutant, a werewolf, a veteran with PTSD from military sexual trauma. I'm not getting any better. I'm an ambassador. You may close the door on me, but you haven't stopped the conversation, United Kingdom. We are going to talk about carbon footprints. We are going to talk about energy policies. Why? Because we're neighbors. You can control the borders, but you can't control the air. And you share with us and we share with you. We will talk this out, okay? So the conversation will continue. I hope to see you on the next podcast.